Welcome to the Gamer Dad podcast, where we talk about all things Magic the Gathering and gaming. We strive to make things fun, fit into our busy lives, families, keep things casual, and show you how you can too. I'm Gamer Dad Bob, a gamer since 1987, and Square Enix, we need to talk. I'm an IT manager, lover of sports, RPGs, and father of one very energetic 5-year-old who refuses to use save points. And I'm talking like IRL save points. This kid hates sleep. He hates bedtime. He does not like to recharge his batteries.
He doesn't like stopping at the campfire.
No save points for this kid.
And I'm Jesse Hoagie, your friendly neighborhood gamer, guitar slinger, and full-time dad of 2 amazing little girls who already have more attitude than I ever did. When I'm not getting outplayed by tweeners, I guess I call them tweeners, I guess. My oldest is 9, I guess that's a tweener.
Almost.
Or stepping on rogue Barbie shoes, you can find me shuffling up a deck of Magic the Gathering, climbing a ladder in Marvel Snap, although not as much lately because the game is kind of going downhill. We're just trying to sneak in some late-night gaming sessions without waking up my kids. So buckle up, lower your expectations, and remember, if you learned something today, it was purely accidental.
Purely accidental. So when you're on the trying not to wake people up, are you on the big TV on the couch and the dog's like next to you and you're just like playing games?
I'm literally on the couch, leaned back, the volume is down to like 6, so you can barely hear it, and the dog is a little bit like on my shoulder, on across my lap.
Love it. I absolutely. That's like peak gamer dad gaming, though. So
yeah.
I mean, you're living the life. And remember, this podcast is sponsored by you, our listeners. So head on over to our Patreon, subscribe, or give us a follow. There you can find exclusive content like our video podcasts, these things right now that we're recording live. And the only place that you can get this video live is here right now. After tonight, it's gone. Subscriptions to Patreon also notify you when we post updates to our podcast recordings. And oh, by the way, they help me pay for stuff. Also, don't forget to stick around for our video game trivia tonight. Will Jesse go easy mode or drop some fun, obscure fact that really tickles our brains? Or did he forget about trivia until I mention this right now?
No, I have it. I think it's easy. Like, I knew it. Like, I had the whole thing in my head, like, without anything. So I thought it was easy.
Sweet. I forgot about trivia until 10 minutes ago.
And you put it in here, too, on the script.
I just put it in here.
Oh, gotcha.
So have you ever watched your favorite game studio slowly forget how to tell a story? Yeah, same. Back to the Square Enix thing. Have you ever watched one of your favorite studios absolutely nail it time and time again? What's the difference? What's going on? What is one that's going on oh so right, and then the other one's going on oh so wrong? So tonight we're going to kind of explore that duality, and we're going to talk about who's on the rise and who's on the downturn. And tonight we're going to talk about game stories that crushed it and those that fell flat. We're also sticking with games in like the last 10 to 12 years. I could absolutely gush about some of the classics like Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy IV, Final Fantasy VI, that Square Enix absolutely nailed. See, it was the Enix that made me say 6 different, in case you're wondering. I saw you smiling there. Those stories shaped my early teenage years, but we're not gonna. So we're going to talk about more of the modern game landscape. Jesse and I have curated a list of some of the greats and not so greats from the last 10 years or so of gaming, and we're ready to defend our stances. And finally, I'm going to say this, though it probably isn't super applicable to all the stuff that we talk about, but tonight's podcast may contain some spoilers if you have not played these games that we are talking about. I apologize in advance, but I mean, outside of Clair Obscur, spoilers, I don't have any spoilers about that game, so go and play that game.
Yeah, the latest of mine I think I'm going to talk about is Cyberpunk.
Man, when did that come out?
2020, which I think is the same as Ghost. It's 2020.
So, I mean, we've got some we've got some newer games, but like Clair Obscur is current year. So I'm avoiding heavy spoilers while we discuss that, especially also, for Jesse's sake.
Yeah, because I haven't beat it yet. Also, this is purely our opinion. You know, just because I say something is terrible, it's not in my script, but Donkey Kong Bonanza I don't get it. It's just, I think it's a horrible, horrible game. Doesn't mean that's how it's supposed to be. If you enjoy it, that's perfectly fine. And it's perfectly fine if I don't enjoy it or Bob doesn't enjoy it. There's nothing wrong with it.
Right. The idea is that we're going to break down what makes these games good or bad in our eyes, right? The narrative structure, characters you care about, all of that stuff. We're going to touch on here, and we're going to touch on the whys and everything with the games that we're talking about tonight. So our first segment is games that crushed it. And I'm going to take the lead on this segment, and I'm going to open with Horizon Zero Dawn. This game changed something in me, like literally changed my mindset on the human race, technology. I'm not even kidding. It messed with my head, Jesse. It was one of those games. So not only are you playing this badass action game, you're Aloy with this bow and you're killing machines and everything, but like the plot changed the way I thought about things. So think about this. Project Zero Dawn. This was not like this heroic plan. This was an engineered mass extinction of human beings to kill the robots, to take out the robots. It was this Plan Z, if you will, Zero Dawn. And that was their only hope was, well, we're all going to die anyway, so we might as well figure this out. And this game was like, just the thought of that was philosophically brutal, right? So you've got humanity choosing extinction for Earth's own rebirth, you know? Like that's where they reached.
It's pretty much pretty damn accurate.
I know, that's the terrifying part. And I played this game when it came out, and that's where my head was out. And as an aside, I used ChatGPT to help write prompts for me to discuss these games. So it was like a reverse prompt structure. So like the irony is not lost on me that I'm using ChatGPT to help me talk about a game like Horizon Zero Dawn and talk about how awesome this is. So let's also talk about another thing that makes things important, right? And that's your protagonist. So Aloy as a protagonist, if you played Witcher, you kind of get Witcher vibes looking at her, right? She's this outcast. Yeah. Outsider. She's hunted. She's unshakable. Nothing bothers her. She has no F's to give. And because of that, she is Geralt. She's female Geralt. And where Geralt has the pale white skin, you know, she's got the red hair. And that is a deliberate choice in the art direction, the character design, and everything else. Deliberate choice. That red hair stands out among everybody. And in her character arc, I mean, you start when she's a little girl and she discovers his focus, and you watch her grow up, become a woman. And then as the game goes on, you discover more and more about her backstory, and she turns into this just absolute powerhouse. And you're behind her the entire way. You're like, oh my God,
literally,
she needs to succeed. Third person. Nice. Real nice. So the VR game isn't. I haven't played it.
I haven't played that. I don't even have PlayStation VR.
I would get motion sick, but the VR game isn't. And here's another interesting aspect of this game. If you really think about this deep down, these machines weren't meant to be portrayed as monsters. Now, while you are fighting them and everything, they were just part of a broken system. This derangement is what they called it in the game that happens. These monsters were environmental creatures, right? You had sea purifiers, you had land things, the hawks and stuff, that they all had an actual purpose. And if you dig into like the game catalog and the monster catalog, you can learn about them and kind of the deep lore that they built in with all the stuff that you pick up. You learn more and more and more about it. And like, these machines weren't the monsters. They were just part of a broken system. So on another side of the monsters, right? So as humans come back, they're tribal. They're tribal humans. And monsters are these mysterious, almost even godlike beings to them. Because, I mean, these machines, they don't die often. Some of them shut down through wear and tear if they can't get repairs in a cauldron or something like that. But they turn these machines into like myth and legend. You know, there were some machines that had killed a bunch of tribal people, and that bear there in the frozen wilds has killed a bunch of people. That thing is legendary.
It's very Native American.
Very, very myth and legend coded with all that. And that makes the story even more interesting too. You're like, oh, how did this happen? Well, this is a tribal society. And they're going to develop that. Their form of education is only what the past human society gave them, you know? So as they rebuild human beings, we have full revisionist history, if you think about it, right? Yeah. So they're going to only share the information that they want to for the new society that they're building. It's very interesting there. Then you get to a turning point of Rost's death. That's Aloy's father, but he's not really biological father. And this was a necessary turning point for the story to really set Aloy loose. He was prepared to set her loose and everything, but she needed that final nudge. And that was absolutely necessary for her development, for moving the story forward. And honestly, it was at that point that the game set the hook for me. It's like, holy crap, what is going on? Who are these other people that just randomly attacked what was that, Meridian, the first city or something like that? And like,
yeah,
or
I think so.
Maybe it wasn't Meridian. I might be wrong.
I don't remember.
Mother's Hearth. Maybe that was it. And like, killing Rost was very important for her development. So as much as you hate seeing a character killed for that sort of purpose, it was purpose written. And that's important as well for how a story develops and everything. And albeit it was devastating, it was sad. I hated it, especially the way he went. He saved her, but also like died in the process. It was terrible. And then as we move further and further into the story, there's all these compelling characters, and Gaia is one of the most compelling characters to me. And Gaia is it's a machine, right? It's an AI. It's a subroutine. But Gaia wasn't just made to be smart. The humans that designed Gaia to rebuild the planet made her emotionally intelligent. Gaia had empathy. She understood the plight. She understood humans. She knew. They taught her that. Elizabeth Sobek taught her that. And that was really important for that character. And as a side note, like, I have Gaia and her subroutines on my arm from this game. Okay? This game made that much of an impact on me. So Gaia was so important to this game, and her story and the coexistence of all her subroutines like Hades and Hephaestus and all the other ones that they kind of touched on. Each of these AIs were purpose built. They had things to do, and then Hades got a little bit wacky. It misunderstood its job, and now we have where we're at.
Aren't they all Greek gods? Is it Greek or
let's see? Hades would be Egyptian? Greek. Hephaestus would be Greek. Yeah, they were named for Greek gods. Apollo was the teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah. So really, really good stuff with all that. And they continue to interweave the story with everything. And then like toward the end of the game, right, you've got this final climb and you find out what Ted Fairo's real agenda was and everything, and how humanity ultimately failed and still persevered with Zero Dawn. But like the whole thing with Fairo being revealed as like ultimately the bad guy because he's this just corporate greedy SOB. And then what he did to all of the smart people, the board, the creators of Zero Dawn and everything, by just shutting their air off and killing them, was insane. Gut-wrenching, gut punch moment. I couldn't believe it when I saw that scene play out. I was, you walk in and you see a bunch of skeletons and you're like, okay, what happened? And then that plays, and then the holograms fall exactly into place where the skeletons are. I mean, that level of directing, that level of foresight, I mean, talk about the clincher to really pull you in and be like, I have to save humanity. And then you have the Meridian's where the final battle is. Duh, Bob. Okay. It's in your notes. The final battle at Meridian, like, if you think about it, it was like Lord of the Rings-esque. Because like Aloy was like, she's like Frodo with this spear and everything, and she's going to destroy the One Ring, which is Hades, and like everybody is buying her time from the giant invasion of the destroyer robots and everything. It was very epic Lord of the Rings, Return of the King level with how they executed that. I mean, and you've got Aloy helping secure the defenses along the way. You have to go to like 3 or 4 different places, secure the defenses, advance. And then she's almost crushed by the friggin' rocks toward the end. And you're like, oh my God, are they just going to kill her off? And then obviously you get to the end of the game and then, oh, Silence is still around, guys. And let's be clear, Lance Reddick as Silence, R.I.P. first and foremost. But holy cow, did he portray that character, which also tells you how important your actors are that you hire for these. They have to be bought into the characters. They have to want to be these characters. You can feel how they are as these characters. And Lance Reddick was Silence. He was not my enemy, but he sure as hell wasn't my friend. Silence was in it for Silence. He was all about knowledge. He just wanted to learn everything. And empathy, What's that? Knowledge at the cost of everything. And if you look at games and you play games, and if you've played as many games as Jesse and I have, you can tell when the actors are a little detached from the characters that they play. Like J.K. Simmons in Baldur's Gate 3 as Ketherick Thorm, General Ketherick Thorm, the first of the Dead Three, right? And when you listen to him delivering those dialogues, he's kind of phoned it in. You know, he's not fully emotive with the character in some of the scenes. You can kind of feel he's just delivering the lines. And it's important as the character, as the actor, to really be bought in for the game as you're talking about these. So the biggest takeaway I have, if I were a game designer and I was doing a game like Horizon Zero Dawn, is you don't beat Horizon Zero Dawn by killing the biggest threat, right? Hades wasn't beating the game. You beat Horizon Zero Dawn and learn the truth. So as a writer, you have to weave that all in and know that you, the player, want to decide what's worth saving. And they tell you that as you go through the game. Did you feel all of those things, Jesse, as I was talking about it?
There's a reason we both have the tall neck Legos literally behind both our heads right now.
Where is it?
Now,
there.
My journey with Horizon was later than yours because I didn't have a PlayStation.
Right.
So I had to wait, what was it, 5 years?
It took a long time to get to
come
PC.
out on PC. And then when the second one came out, I got it immediately because I had a PlayStation. But I've beat Horizon, I think I've beat it 3 times now. Twice on PC, once on PlayStation, something like that. So, I mean, at the end, I was in tears. Like, it was such a good game.
Games that really hammer emotions home are very important these days.
It's not just the story that's so good about it. It's the gameplay. Like, the whole gameplay, from like the way you control, the way everything was just top notch.
It was. Kudos to Guerrilla Games for that. It was such a good game. The story, I really mean this when I say this, it changed the way I think about humanity. And it's not in a good way, unfortunately, but like,
no, it is not. I mean, unfortunately, it's truth. It's all true.
Yeah.
Like we're definitely going down that road right now.
We are. God save us. God's save us. Someone. All right, let's dive into Clair Obscur Expedition 33. So, Jesse, I talked about this game before you guys even knew what the hell it was.
Mm-hmm.
Before anybody I know knew what the hell it was. I saw it on that state of play, that the first time it previewed, and I was like, this is my game. It lit up my Legend of Dragoon brain because I watched the gameplay and I saw how it was turn-based. I saw how you had to time button hits and everything. I was like, oh no, this is it. This is the game. And I didn't shut up about it. Like, Jesse can vouch for this. I posted every snippet I could find as the year passed for the game development in our Discord. I was like, guys, I swear to you, this game is the game I'm most hyped about. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. And it's like, oh, Bob's overhyping this game again. Do you remember how much he talked about Forspoken? What did he think of that game? Bob was so wrong on that one.
We'll hear about that later.
And this time, though, I was right. Clair Obscur Expedition 33, I was right. This game, it's my game of the year. It just, this is another game that changed the way I think about humanity, believe it or not. And there's a theme here, right? But let's dive in a little bit on how the characters were designed, how the narrative was portrayed with this. So, Jesse, you have not played a ton of Clair Obscur Expedition 33.
I think I'm like 4 or 5 hours into it.
You know who the Paintress is. You know what the Gommage is. You've experienced that in the very beginning.
I will say this is probably the first game where I was in tears within the first 10 minutes.
Same. I mean, I was not expecting that kind of... Nobody was. Nobody was expecting that to start. And everybody I talked to, I warned. I was like, guys, you're going to be crying in the first hour of play. It's a guarantee. If you have a heart, if you have a soul, if you have a family, you're going to be crying in that first hour of gameplay. I don't care if you're macho man. If you have a soul, you're going to be crying.
So Macho Man said it's okay to cry.
So let's dive in a little bit about the Paintress here and how they designed her, not just like this person, right? Paintress isn't just a person. It's this symbolic thing. It's divine. It's terrifying. We don't know anything about it. And I want to touch a little bit on how the game was teased with the Paintress, right? Because their marketing campaign, the actors, the way they asked them to pitch the Paintress was very different than the actual story on the Paintress. You know, they're like, it's this divine being. It changes a number. Everybody under that number survives. Everybody over that number dies. We don't know why the Paintress is doing this and everything. It kind of zeroes you in on, this is the bad guy, right? But as you go on, the Paintress is not feeling as evil as you think. It's more of a symbol. The Paintress is the Paintress, okay? And then after you get out of certain areas and everything, the whole world opens up. And it feels like you're back in like Final Fantasy VII after you step out of Midgar. You've got this huge world map. It's pretty explorable, but it's linear enough where you can only go certain places and everything. You can't go very far. There's other things you can do. There's some enemies on the map. It wasn't bloated. Like, the map was big enough, but it wasn't too big. So it left, toward the end of the game, Jesse, you get the ability to fly around. I'm sure you've seen trailers of people flying around.
No, I haven't.
Okay. Well, you get to fly. They leave some areas that are not part of the plot that you can explore when you can fly. Oh my God, the level requirements, though. I walked into an area early game, and I didn't know what it meant when, like, the title of the zone was in red. I should have thought of that. But I got wiped. One hit killed by mobs in there, and it was like, what are we doing here? But they leave it open for you to explore. There's one thing I may have also done to add even more urgency to the game. I don't think I would have made it matter, but I would have loved some kind of a ticking clock, like in Majora's Mask. Arbitrary ticking clock. It doesn't have to be real time. It doesn't have to be like, okay, a year passes, you're all effed. But they should have noted how long things passed before levels that you were going to and everything. Like, from the opening part of the game to this part, it was like 30 days or whatever. They were sailing for, and then you're like, oh geez, I only have 11 months now. Some kind of extra ticking clock to give you that sense of urgency as you move through the game would have been just chef's kiss. It would have been perfect.
The upcoming game, Blood of Dawnwalker, I think you have 100 days.
Oh.
And that, at least if I remember correctly, you have 100 days before something happens. And then, like, the whole replayability of the game is each time you play it, what do you do in those 100 days? And what is your choices? Like, you have 100 days to, like, save your family or something.
Wow. So
I don't know if they've changed that, but
ticking clocks for narrative have always been interesting. They always give the player a sense of urgency, extra urgency. And it's good and bad. I see pros and cons there, right? Because if you're up against a ticking clock, you're not going to explore. You're going to try and stick to the plot as much as possible. All right, let's talk about the narrative and the theme of this game now. This game, flat out, was a love letter to grief. That's the entire theme of the game. Grief. And as you play it more and more, you'll understand what I'm talking about, Jesse. It's like the writer skipped therapy and made this game instead. They
probably did.
They were going through something. Whoever wrote this game overall was going through something. And let me tell you, I was here for it. It touched on it so subtly, and it poked and prodded you with different pieces of story and plot. And even up and through Act 2, you're going, wait a minute, who's the bad guy? What's going on? Who is this? Who is she? What in the hell? Who is this person really? And you didn't know what was going on until Act 3 tied everything together. And that was just perfect. And now the visuals, the mechanics that they designed in this game. I'm going to play a game if it's beautiful like this. Like, it's going to suck me in. Great graphics, that's important and everything. But it was literally built off of the painting style called chiaroscuro. And I probably butchered that pronunciation. But it is the art style of balancing light and shadow in art. And they hit very hard on the balance of light and shadow in different things. Lighting to me is always very important. I was a film study minor in college, so I pick up on this sort of stuff. And art direction, cinematography and stuff is just as important in video games as it is in movies. Sinners is one of the movies I watched recently that had some of the best lighting I've seen in a very, very long time. Their use of light and shadow in Sinners was perfect. It portrayed different things with the characters, the creatures, and other things that you kind of saw going on, and a little bit of foreshadowing. The use of light and shadow is very important. And the chroma system, right? Color, adding color to the world. It wasn't just flavor, it had meaning. Color in the world meant something. And to go with the meme, it was just absolute cinema, right? You know that meme that I'm talking about.
That was from WWE. Well, it's used in WWE.
And this game had a personal impact on me. So we just talked about this, Jesse. So let me ask you this. In your 4 hours that you've played, how would 25-year-old Jesse have reacted to the opening of this game and what you experienced, as opposed to 40-some-year-old Jesse? You're 42, 41?
42. I probably would have thought it was visually stunning, and then that's it.
Yeah.
Which is like the same thing as like if I would have watched Logan before I had kids. Like if I would have watched that before I had kids, I would not have had the emotional reaction I had at the end when now I have kids.
I didn't have kids when I saw Logan, and I kid you not when I say this, Jesse. Excellent movie. I bought the movie. I put it up on my Plex server. I still to this day have not watched it a second time.
I mean, did you see Wolverine and Deadpool?
Mm-hmm.
Even when they were at the part in there where they weren't making fun of it, but they were playing it and everybody was blubbering, I was still blubbering. And I've seen it like 5 times.
So games need to be in the right place. They need to target the right audience. And I think that's important. Mm-hmm. And games, I think at this point, the gaming industry, I think if they continue to mature around with our demographic, they're going to hit more people, more viewers. They're going to make more of an impact on people's lives. And I'm not saying that the 25-year-olds don't matter, but when you write a game like this is a game for a more mature audience. And when I say more mature, people with families. What you got there?
Oh, have you seen these? They're the glow Sour Patch Kids?
No.
They glow under blacklight.
Wow.
And this flavor is strawberry watermelon.
Hashtag not sponsored, but damn, that sounds good.
Stewart's has them, so you probably wouldn't see them.
We don't have Stewart's here, dude.
I forgot about that.
This game wrecked me in the most beautiful way. Like, I can't even describe it. So another thing that I want to touch on with a game like this is the risk factor. So these writers knowingly took an insane risk. Like this was their debut studio title.
I was going to ask that. Like, have they made anything else?
No, this was a branch off of Ubisoft, from what I understand, a French studio. And this was their debut title, and they took a huge, risky swing at this, you know? This was a story, a surreal story, grief-heavy, turn-based combat? What is that? It's 2025. It shouldn't work, but it did. And my own quote for this is the game that 2025 needed. This is a Bob quote. This is not me reading someone's review or anything like that. Let's talk about the biggest takeaway from this game from a designer standpoint. Clair Obscur provides emotional storytelling. It doesn't need to be shouted. It can be painted. Get it? Get it? See what I did there? And light doesn't erase darkness. It defines it. That was the light and shadow of this game. Just so good. Jesse, I really wish you could find some time to play it through. I'd love to hear what you think about it as you're playing through it.
Yeah, the hard part for me is the PlayStation is kept to the main TV upstairs.
I would not recommend playing this game in front of children.
No.
I actively avoided playing it in front of my 5-year-old as much as possible. The monsters are terrifying, first and foremost. There's a lot of adult content in there, and by that I mean bad words and other stuff. I
wonder if, it's a graphically impressive game, but is it more graphically impressive than Cyberpunk?
I think in a different way, because it's two different graphical styles, if you think about it. This is
what I'm getting to is, do you think that could get ported to the Switch too? Cyberpunk is.
Oh, man.
It feels like a perfect game for the Switch.
I think it could hit the Switch. Now, would it look better on big screen? Yeah, I predominantly played this game on my big 77-inch TV in 7.1 surround sound. It was just so... And I played it with the volume loud. Like, if you ask my wife, she'd be like, yeah, he was playing the game too loud. But I wanted that full cinematic immersion experience when I was playing this game, because I knew it was just going to be the game for me.
This just in, the game's director has expressed interest in porting the game to the Switch 2.
Well, there you go. Jesse called it without even knowing.
First video that comes up, it's someone else says this would be perfect. So I'm not the only one that feels that way.
And don't forget, I believe there's a movie or a show or something.
There's a movie
that they had going in parallel for this.
Yep, they're making a movie out of it.
Man, they're so good.
Talk about like success, like studio's first thing, and it's being made into a movie. It's that good.
Well, we've got a Horizon Zero Dawn show coming also.
Yep, I cannot wait for that. Although it's probably going to get wrecked like The Witcher did.
And the next game that I'm talking about already has an HBO show, The Last of Us. Let's talk.
No, Halo.
Yeah, let's talk about The Last of Us. Because this is my third and final game for games that absolutely crushed it with the narrative and the story. This was not a story about zombies. I want to make
Walking Dead.
Right. Walking Dead was never about the zombies. In fact, if zombie survival movies and games are doing it right, the zombies are not the main story. They help with survival, they help with urgency. They are not the main story, and neither was it in The Last of Us. The Last of Us was a story about humans, a story about moral ambiguity, a story about survival in this post-apocalyptic infected world. And the infected, they're just background noise. They're just a catalyst for why people have to move, why people are fighting with each other. So let's talk a little bit about how they developed Joel, because Joel is the main character in the Last of Us game. I know you guys want to say it's about Ellie.
Prologue, man.
But
absolutely
the first,
me too.
You look at Joel and you're like, can I trust this guy? And you get through the prologue. And literally after that prologue, I didn't care what happened to him. He was my guy.
Why is it always a father and daughter? Like, give me a break. Come on.
Jesse with two girls over here, and they keep doing this stuff. It was awful. It was gut-wrenching. It was shocking. I remember watching my wife play it. So fun fact, fun gamer dad Bob fact, my wife played The Last of Us start to finish before I ever picked up the game.
Really? That's surprising.
I watched snippets of her playing. I thought it looked okay. She played the original game. So
PlayStation 3?
Yeah. So the controls were clunky, almost Resident Evil 4-like controls.
Yes.
And I'm not talking the remake. And I picked it up. I tried playing it. I got through the prologue. That wrecked me because I didn't know that was coming. And she's sitting there like, well, I hope he's going to be okay. But she didn't say anything. But after that prologue, you kind of look at Joel and you go, well, he's already been through one of the worst possible things you could imagine. He survives this, and now he's in this post-apocalyptic world. After the prologue, I trusted Joel completely. I didn't care what he did. I didn't care. His decisions were my decisions.
Kind of like Rick from Walking Dead.
I have not watched Walking Dead, so you'd have to help me out there. Yeah.
See, I stopped after like the first couple seasons, so I think I stopped after Rick was gone.
Well, spoilers there, Bob. Jeez.
I said gone. I didn't say dead.
I have no intention of watching that show.
He came back.
That show actually didn't interest me, believe it or not, because I thought it was mostly about zombies, and I felt zombies were boring.
It got stretched so far out, it should not have been as big as it was.
All right. And like, did they separate from the graphic novels at some point?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Like there's like 50 different spinoffs, and none of them are good.
So early in the game, Joel's saddled with Ellie. Ellie's just this girl he doesn't know much about. It's a transport mission. It's an escort mission. We all love escort missions in video games, don't we, Jesse?
I hate those. Are the worst, absolute worst.
Joel sees his daughter in this girl. It's a young girl. She's impressionable. She's a little feral. And Ellie sees herself as a job. She's like, I'm just a commodity to this guy. And you can feel the tension the way that they develop the characters early on. They don't like each other. They don't get along. And then the catalyst of Tess's death kind of forces them to have to stick together because there's no longer a third person involved. It's just Joel and Ellie. And, there's a scene where Joel and Ellie kind of have it out and he chooses not to abandon her. Like, he has an option, and he chooses not to abandon her. And that point right there was my full hook. Like, I was hooked after the prologue, obviously, but like at that point, I'm all in for Joel. This is it.
Now,
he says he's sticking with this girl.
You choose not to ban her because of her or because of what she is?
I think
I've gotten to the point where they're trying to sneak out of something. I think after Test died, maybe. I don't know. I'm only like an hour into it.
You might have been just trying to sneak Ellie out of the city.
That's what it was. Yeah.
That's when I put the game down the first time, by the way.
That's when I put it down.
Because the controls were bad and I kept getting caught and it pissed me off.
I kept getting caught and I got pissed off.
So I will say the remake is a little bit better for that. And as you play the remake, game more,
but it's still pissing me off.
So after Tess dies, Joel's kind of forced to Ellie. And they both decide that, you know what? We're going to trust each other. We're just going to trust each other. That was all I needed. And let's talk a little bit about how the designers built this game out as far as the violence in the game goes. Because you don't think about a game like this being overly violent. And they wanted to keep the human element in, like the actual gore of a human element. And that's kind of the point, right? These infected were former humans, and they're going to crunch and gush and splurt and you name it, just like a human would. And the opposite, right? If they get a hold of you, you're just a fragile human. Like the first time you get killed by a bloater.
I hate the, tangent, but any video game or any zombie game that has bloaters, I hate those. Like,
it's
I'm thinking of
visceral. Are you thinking like Dead Before Dawn or Left 4 Dead or
Left 4
Dead?
Yeah, that's one of them. Like, there's other games that have bloaters too, but it's like you get too close and they explode and you die.
Yeah, that's not what these guys are. So bloaters are the oldest form of infected. They have been infected for years and years and years, and they get stronger and stronger, and they get layer upon layer of shielding, armor, whatever you call it. They're really hard to kill, and they're insanely strong. And bloaters auto kill you if you get too close. They just grapple you and rip your jaw off. Yeah. It's a visceral feeling. And that kind of jarring, visceral moment, similar to like the chainsaw guys getting a hold of you in Resident Evil 4, like we talked about, right? That is a shaken moment for you. And you're like, oh, okay, so this is what I'm up against. And oh, by the way, a lot of the bloaters that you encounter, you have to kill. You can't avoid them. You have to kill them. And you encounter one in a gym, in a school gym. It's like it was the gym teacher. It busts out of like the gym teacher's room office. And if you get too close, they grab you and rip your jaw off. And it's gross. So using violence in a game like this is very important to really tell the story of the world, because it is a violent world. It's a world of moral ambiguity. Who's to say that Joel is right? Who's to say that he's wrong? I don't know. Dude's just trying to survive and protect this girl who he's treating like his daughter. And speaking of, you get to the end of the game. You're raiding a hospital. Spoilers here, Jesse. You're raiding a hospital. There are dozens of people that Joel has to plow through and mow down. Humans. And the sirens are blaring and everything. And Ellie is going to be on the operating table because they think she's the cure, but they need her brain tissue to do this cure. And that would essentially kill her, right? And Joel says, we ain't doing this. So he raids the hospital solo. And the sirens are going. It's just him, his breathing, him shooting people up. And then you get to the last hallway before the operating room. And it's just Joel heavy breathing, sirens, red lights flashing, and silence otherwise. And you get into the hospital room, and Joel makes his decision to kill the doctor and save Ellie. If you were given that choice, Jesse, to save your own child, I'd do it every time. Mm-hmm. I don't think there's any hesitation for me here. And everybody's like, no, Joel ruined it. He could have saved humanity by letting her die. That's not the point. It's not the point.
Not the point.
This is his daughter. He is saving.
Not the point.
His daughter. This person who meant everything to him at this point. A real bond that they shared, that the writers developed in. They wrote in a meaningful bond between these two characters, and it turned into father-daughter sort of situation. And holy crap, does that play out at the beginning of the second game. I won't go too much further. So, listen, The Last of Us worked because of the dynamic between the characters. You were rooting for Joel. You were rooting for Ellie. It wasn't just a survival zombie game. You were seeing this to the end. You were going to get her to the end of wherever you needed to, no matter what, because that's what Joel would do for his daughter. And they hook you from the very beginning of that prologue into the game, and you are stuck, and you want to play that game through if you can get out of the city and you don't keep getting captured.
I'm thinking maybe I should try to move the PlayStation downstairs so I don't have to worry about the TV upstairs.
That's something to consider.
Yeah.
So
So
storytellers, I think my biggest takeaway from games that I loved, the characters mattering, the story mattering, is one of the most important things. If you're not hooking your people, they're going to put the game down. And I think as Jesse goes through his, we're gonna see that there's a similar vibe, a similar theme.
And I will say a lot of the choices that me and Bob made, we both made the same ones.
Yeah, we had to kind of pick and choose like it was a
Yeah.
like it was a custody battle on our children here.
And you're going to see a theme throughout all these. They're all very similar. I'm looking at these. I think they're all third person, actually.
Yeah.
Except for Cyberpunk. Yeah, they're all third person. That's kind of hilarious. So I have 3 picks as well. And my first pick is the last game I actually beat. And that is Ghost of Tsushima.
That's a big feat for Jesse, actually.
And I already have the second one pre-ordered.
Me too.
And I'm also noticing that each of these games, I think, is already made into a TV show or movie, or is going to be, which is kind of tells you how good they are.
Yeah.
I'm hoping Cyberpunk is going to be.
We hope that they're done justice. Well, we have Edge Runners, Jesse, on Netflix.
True. Which is I hate anime and I love Edge Runners.
Really friggin' well done. You know they're going to do another story, right?
Yep. I think they're making it into comic books too.
I even read the Cyberpunk book. It was actually pretty
that's
good.
Right. It was like you did it on Audible, right?
Yep. Yeah,
Anyway.
the voice actor who does female V narrates that book.
Oh, nice. So Ghost, it's Ghost singular. I always say ghosts, but it's Ghost of Tsushima. So that's, I mean, for anybody who doesn't know what it is, it's basically a samurai game.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so much more than that. The protagonist is Jin Sakai, and he is incredibly complex.
Yeah.
Because he has to weigh his honor of being a samurai and everything he's been taught literally from a kid against an invasion and against what needs to be done in war to survive.
Mm-hmm.
You can't always go by the honor code of the samurai and still literally kill everybody that's trying to kill you. It just doesn't work.
Not when your enemy does not follow said code.
Exactly.
Nor care about said code.
It's like kind of like the British in the American Revolution. Like they had this honor, like they had their way of doing battle, and then the Americans started doing guerrilla warfare on them, and that's how we beat them. And it's just out of necessity. You're trained as a samurai to fight with your honor, face enemies head on, don't strike from the shadows, don't be a coward. But when the Mongols come, that's the only way to get them. That's the only way to really defeat them. And he becomes a symbol, the ghost. He becomes a symbol of the whole resistance against the Mongol invasion. And you can really feel the conflict of Jin throughout the whole thing. Each choice he has to make, he gets more and more confident that he's making the right choice. But at the beginning, he totally rejects it.
Well, look at the early flashbacks from your first stealth kill. Yep. What they do with that.
Yep. And that leads to a thematic depth of honor, sacrifice, and your legacy and how you want to be remembered. And it's all choices that he's making. The code of the samurai is something, but he finds how outdated it is versus actual war. It against, like you said, an enemy that doesn't have that same honor code. It just doesn't hold up. And it's all against a family dynamic because Lord Shimura is his uncle, but really is his dad in a way because his dad died when he was young.
Yeah,
so his
very
uncle
young.
Took him and raised him as his own. So he's going against his father, basically. And it's the whole theme of the whole thing, that's the mask, is sacrifice. Everybody is sacrificing something to save Tsushima. Every single person.
Mm-hmm.
And I personally loved all the supporting characters. I thought they were one of, if not the best part of it. Like Yuna. Like, I thought they were going to be like an item. I think they were in my head anyway.
Jesse's headcanon has them hooked up.
And then his friend Raizu that portrays him, you thought they were going to be, I thought they were going to be a team and taking these people on, and then
Yeah.
holy shit, I was wrong. But even then, you can see Ryuzo. You can see his conflict.
Oh yeah.
Through the whole thing, you can see his conflict, and the main bad guy, the Khan. I mean, granted, he was an actor, like in actual movies, but he is incredibly compelling because he's just there doing what he was told to. Like, it's not he's doing it. It's not anything personal. He's just doing what he's told. So, and he definitely made their culture a weapon because he knew they wouldn't fight back.
Very smart,
Incredibly smart,
bad guy,
incredibly smart, and it's incredibly stunning. The whole visuals, like, it is such a beautiful game. Like, if you can play it on PC,
yes,
because it is. I have it on both PC and PlayStation. And it looks so much better visually on a PC,
which is saying something because I thought it was incredible on PS4 when I played it the first time.
It's absolute cinematic. It's cinematic. It's absolute cinema. Like the way everything is, the way that they present everything,
the use of the wind, the use of the wind.
The wind is like your guide telling you where to go. And then when you do the one-on-one duels, it feels like a movie duel.
Yeah, it's like it's samurai cinema for sure.
You're literally in a movie. It's absolutely amazing. And then you have those quiet moments, like when you write a haiku, or you sit in a hot spring and rest, or play a flute. Like, it slows you down and lets you appreciate things. And then the end, man, that absolute end was absolute gut wrenching.
And this is not like, oh, I beat the final boss. That's not the end of the game, guys.
That is not the end of the game. Choosing, like, I'm not going to have spoilers, but choosing the end, like what choice you make.
Can you tell me what choice you made the first time you played it through?
I've only played it once, and I let him live.
Okay.
I let him live with his own, and
that was my choice, my first playthrough.
Yeah, I'm probably going to play it again, and I was tempted to do it and then reload a save and do it again and see what the ending was, but I didn't.
That is the hardest choice you're going to make in video games in recent memory.
Oh, yeah. I think there's a harder one in my next game, but like the designer takeaway I think you put on here is it made you feel guilt through gameplay. Like, you choosing to kill someone via stealth and then seeing those flashbacks, you literally feel guilty. Toward the end, I was not. Toward the end, I'm like, you're gonna freaking die. I'm cutting your head off. Like, the whole, like, as I get there and get toward the end, I'm like, I'm just, I'm doing what I need to do.
Spoilers, after he decapitates Yuna's brother, like, in front of you.
That was my turning point.
It's game off.
That was my turning point. After that, and I'm like, nope, I'm a machine. You're all gonna die.
Exactly. I don't care anymore about anything. You're going down.
Yep. Absolutely amazing.
Cannot
wait for the second.
One more fun fact about this game, and I don't know if you know this or not, or if I mentioned it before. So the weather plays a factor on Tsushima, right? It rains and it has light, clouds, you name it. Did you know that the more stealth kills that you do, the more frequently it storms?
I did not know that.
By the time I got to the end of the game, it was constant thunderstorm.
Yeah, there was tons of thunderstorms toward the end of mine too.
Constant.
I wonder, like, I would love to play a playthrough where you have no stealth kills, but I don't think you can.
I don't think you can, and it would be challenging to, like, I'd have to play on the easiest mode to do that.
Yeah,
it would be like your own personal honor mode.
Yeah, it'd be great if you could do that and then have a different ending where it doesn't go the way it goes. But anyway, so speaking of endings and how many endings there are,
too many. Wait,
too many.
Did I say that out loud?
The next game is either my top game of all time or tied for my top game of all time, and that's The Witcher 3.
It's my top 3.
So I cannot go on long enough to talk about how good The Witcher is. I played 1, I played 2, I played 3. I played them all. I don't think you've played the first 2.
I tried to play 2, and the controls were too bad. I just couldn't do it.
Incredibly different. It's incredibly different. Don't even try 1 then. Maybe the remake that they're doing will be better. But 1 is incredibly rough. But I played it. I played them both when they came out. And the go between 1, 2, and 3, so good. But talk about character development and depth. The Witcher 3 has it all. Absolutely has it all. Every single bit you could ever think of. You have Geralt, the main character. Is about complex.
Is he, though?
He is. I think he's the central character.
He is
ties everything together.
Because he's the player character.
Yes,
for sure.
That's probably why. But it's not just him, though. You play him, you feel him, but you have Yennefer, you have Ciri, you have Triss,
Mm-hmm.
You have all these other characters that mean so much to the story, and they're so well developed and so well thought out and so well just presented. It's absolutely amazing. And like Geralt doesn't show emotion, but he has it.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can feel it. And it's incredibly personal because, again, freaking stupid father-daughter stuff. Ciri is not his actual daughter.
No.
But because of it, I don't know how many, it's probably spoilers by now, or not spoilers, but the Lost Surprise, he gets her because of that. And he makes the choice, just like Joel did, that he is going to be there for her. And the amount these characters grow and evolve over the game is absolutely phenomenal.
Which is really amazing too, Jesse, and if I could interject, because they grow and evolve over the course of the books, which all happened before this.
I'm on the third book. I need to keep reading through it. And I don't know if this is the first game that I remember having this, but every choice that you make matters. Every choice you make has consequences. It might be immediate, or it might be hours down the line.
Oh, yeah.
Every single thing will lead to something happening down the line. There isn't a choice. Like, there isn't a question. The smallest little thing could lead to a gigantic thing down the line that you just wouldn't expect. And it's not just your main quest lines either. The side quests do the same thing.
Yeah.
You make a choice in the side quest, it will have meaning and impact in the main quest.
Yep.
All the way at the end in the third act, or whatever, how many acts there are. And it has radically different endings.
You're
Absolutely
not kidding.
Radically different endings regarding what happens with Ciri and what happens with the Northern Kingdoms. Completely radically different.
Yep.
Like I have this game in almost every format or every platform you can have it in. And every one, I think I've gotten a different ending.
Wow.
Only because I'm purposely doing that.
I've got two different endings.
That's how good it is. I've played it on PC. I've played it on PlayStation. I've played it on the Switch, which is amazing that's on the Switch. And it might be because of the books and the lore that's already established, but it's so rich and so like.
Pause for a second there because I want to touch on that. This is a game that stayed true and honored the game lore, right? As opposed to the Witcher show that we got on Netflix, that was a complete bastardization of the lore and the books and the stories. And we see how each is received differently. And I think that's something to point out and how much that actually matters to people.
And that's why Henry Cavill left. Because he is a huge Witcher fan.
Mm-hmm.
And he wanted to stay true to the books. Like he I don't care who you cast as Geralt from here on out. He will always be Geralt for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's the perfect. I read the books, I imagine him, and it's only the books. I'm imagining him any other way. He's it.
We'll let that go.
He's completely it. But anyway, like the whole world and lore in the game is so good. You get absolutely engrossed in it. And it makes you feel like you're there and you're part of it. The nations, the races, the political tensions. You can feel it in every aspect, every corner of the game. You can feel it.
And all you have to do is play the game, mind you.
Yeah. And everything, like there's magic, there's monsters, but it feels grounded. It feels not crazy. It feels natural. Like it should be there. It's not some like Harry Potter. Not some crazy Harry Potter thing. It's just like, it's just part of it. And monsters, they're terrifying.
Well, thank you, conjunction of spheres, but you know.
And then there are monsters that aren't terrifying.
Yeah.
But the ones that are terrifying, and some of the side quests and the DLCs themselves rival main storylines of other games. Like, I don't care what anybody says, Blood and Wine is better than 95% of the games that have come out in the last 10 years. And that's just a DLC.
So well done. I mean,
Blood
you can put 30 hours into that DLC easily.
Blood and Wine is absolutely phenomenal. And we're talking about Blood and Wine, like the contrast between how Blood and Wine is and the landscape and how everything is color palette wise versus the main game.
Yep.
Totally different.
Yep.
Totally different. Bright colors, all that stuff. But they're so, like, the side quests are not filler. They're part of the whole story as a whole. Like, I mean, the Bloody Baron quest line, absolutely amazing. Like, you cannot say enough about the stuff like that. You have so many dilemmas, so many choices to make, and they're morally gray, just like, Last of Us was. And again, the consequences matter. They echo through the entire game. And it's so emotional, and I love the maturity of it. Like, yes, you can go to a brothel and you can do all that, but it actually adds to the story. It's not just there for shock value. It completely adds to the story. Like, all the cutscenes, like, I personally have never not went with Yennefer, which I probably should do a playthrough where I don't.
Oh my
Well,
god,
all those...
Triss is so much better for Geralt. Come on.
Yeah, but I don't know. But everything matters, and everything is, it touches on so many things, like war, trauma, parenthood, with Geralt and Ciri, and your legacy. It has racism, it has sexism, it has addiction, it has everything, absolutely everything. I mean, the whole fire, flame, burning mages thing, like, has so much like actual real life stuff in there, because you can have that directly to stuff that's happening right now, and it's a 10-year-old game, and I know it's an incredibly long game, but I thought the pacing was amazing. I thought it was perfect. Because you could go as fast as you want. You could beat it in 20, 30 hours. Or you could spend 200 hours in it like I do.
Guilty.
And the writing is amazing. The voice acting, oh my god. The guy who plays Geralt, so good.
Yeah, and again, let's talk about that. Because I touched on that earlier. When the actors are engaged and want to act as these characters, you get a much purer, game experience.
He 100% wants to be
What's his
Geralt.
name? Doug Cockle or something like that?
Something like that, yeah.
Is Geralt of Rivia.
100% is. 100% is. Absolutely 100% is. And everything gameplay-wise has a meaning and integrates with everything. Even like small Monster Hunt stuff actually is tied to the narrative and tied to everything. Everything is tied together. And your thing on here, the design tag, says it respects your intelligence and gives emotional weight to your decisions. Like, talk about, I mean, maybe with the first time you're playing it, you don't realize it until later on in the game. But every choice is such a choice. I mean, it's a hard choice, and it makes in different paths. And you can tell. I mean, I started to catch on that like an actual choice that mattered down the line will have that timer on it.
Yeah, right.
So it forces you to make a choice. You can't just sit and wait. It forces you to make that choice. Absolutely amazing. One of the top games ever. I'm super excited for The Witcher 4.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not one of those idiots that thinks it's going to be ruined because of Ciri. I think it's going to be absolutely amazing because of Ciri.
Well, the story is actually about Ciri, so
yeah, the whole thing really is about Ciri. So, and then
Can we touch on one more thing before you jump into your last thing? Because I wanted to touch on this in Ghost of Tsushima, and I think it also appears in Witcher 3, which is very important. Because not every story, every side quest, every tale in these games has a happy ending to them.
No.
And I think that's important for the world building, right? Like in Ghost of Tsushima, this guy's like, my daughter and wife were kidnapped and everything, and you go to look for them, and it turns out like they were killed and drowned in a river. Terrible, tragic stuff.
Yeah.
And you have to go back and tell this guy that this happened, and that's the end of the side quest, right?
Yep, that's it. He just breaks down and falls down on the dock, and
there's no happy ending for that. And that is world building in its best. Because the world of these games is not this happy, everything has a happy ending.
No, I mean, look at the Bloody Baron quest line, like I mentioned before.
Right.
Like, as you're going through it and finding out how he was abusive toward them, holy shit. Like, it's so well done.
Yeah.
It's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, sorry, I wanted to touch on that because I think that's another important aspect in world building, and that's staying true to the world that you're in, not for the player, for the game design.
Now, my third game, you absolutely hate.
I sure did.
But it's fresh in my mind outside of Donkey Kong, because I'm just at the end of it on the Switch too. But that's Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Now, is this controversial with Bob? Because I think you started it and like played it for 10 minutes and put it down or something like that. Or how long did you play for?
Probably an hour.
So it's not your traditional game that is like leading you through it and telling a story on purpose. It's a sandbox game that lets you discover it at your own pace. And it's not your traditional, like, you go here, you get part of the story. You go here, you get part of the story. You have to discover it through clues, through interactions with characters. It all feels personal because you're doing it and discovering it yourself. And you have this sense of accomplishment when you get there. Like, when you beat one of the first, I don't know, I can't remember the call them, but the gods type things. And like the robot that are taken over by Ganondorf. It's like you have the sense of accomplishment when you beat the shrines without looking them up. It's like, man, you feel accomplished. And the whole central theme which is very much like every game we've talked about up until now,
Mm-hmm.
is failing and recovering. So 100 years ago, Zelda is captured and Link fails and he dies. And well, he was close to death. And then Zelda saves him and makes him hibernate for 100 years until the time is right. And all of the other princes and princesses, all the champions, they're all defeated by Ganondorf. And, you know, everything is just bleak. And then Link comes back and has to save everybody. It's very human. The whole arc of the story is rebuilding and having hope. The whole arc from start to finish. And Zelda, and this has been, I guess, more common these days, but this is 2017 when this came out. She's not your typical damsel in distress. She's not Princess Peach, who's just helpless and sits in a castle.
Yeah.
She is incredibly burdened by her duty as a princess to be what her father wants her to be. And then she's struggling to find her own identity and her own thing that she wants to do, on top of her father trying to force being a princess onto her. And everything in the entire game is connected. Like, it may not seem like it, but it's all connected from start to finish. Like, you might not know, you might come across something, you might not know what it is, and then 3 or 4 hours down the road, you find an NPC that tells you and talks to you about it. And like, oh, I remember this. I'm going to go back and take a look at it, and suddenly you know how to beat it. It's absolutely incredible. And so, the second one is even more so, but I'm playing the first one now.
So they tell the story through a trail of breadcrumbs.
Yes.
That you as the player are responsible for stitching together. Is that accurate?
That's basically it. And the second one's even more so because you can literally stitch things together and make things by putting two things together. But yeah, that's basically what it is. And like, you could literally not even do anything, quest lines, and just run around doing whatever you want.
Yep.
For as long as you want.
Yep. And I think that's where sandbox games lose me personally.
Yeah.
Is I need a little bit more rails and guidance to what I want to do next. That's why some MMOs have missed me also.
Yeah.
Having overpowered areas available to early level, games and stuff, that kind of annoys me, because it's like, well, why am I allowed to access this area if I'm just going to get one hit?
Right.
And when I figured out the red fonts in Clair Obscur mean don't go here, I stopped going there. I mean, so, and I'm sure it's made clear as well in these games and everything, but that was always a point of frustration for me. But let's touch on Zelda a little bit more, because I think that is an important distinction that you make here, right? She is not your typical damsel in distress.
No, she's not.
She is a very powerful female protagonist, even though you don't play as her. Looking back to Ocarina of Time, like, does Zelda portray herself as Sheik at all in Breath of the Wild?
I think in the second one.
Okay.
In Tears of the Kingdom.
Because
far, not in Breath of the Wild, not yet.
Sheik is her other personality. Like, she's a freaking ninja.
Yep. You can get the Sheik costume for Link in the first one.
This is not a damsel in distress.
No.
This is someone who is very torn, as you said, with her princess duties and everything, who is an absolute badass. And oh, by the way, she's also very, very powerful. She's got a Triforce. The Triforce of Wisdom. She has that.
And she's a ninja.
And she's a ninja. Don't forget that. Zelda's not a damsel in distress. Ganondorf's just an a-hole.
It's funny because I was thinking, like, we're thinking of the bad ones, and so many stories or so many games are just rehashes of the same story over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
It's absolutely crazy how many of those are out there. Anyway. So, honorable mention, I'm going to take this one, and I've mentioned it multiple times already in the last hour.
Of course, that's why you get this one.
That's Cyberpunk 2077. Now, this, I will say, is tied with The Witcher 3 for the best game of all time to me.
CDPR, same studio.
CD Projekt Red. Like, they cannot, I mean, I want to say they can't do anything wrong, but the same thing happened with The Witcher 3 as it did with Cyberpunk when it first launched. And you wouldn't remember this, Bob, because you didn't play it, but it was rough. It had a lot of bugs.
Mm-hmm.
But just like Witcher 3, they ironed them out. And look at it now. What a game. Like, you are fully invested in the story of V right from the beginning.
Yeah, the second you're out of the prologue.
Well, even the prologue, like, that whole thing, and then him dying. I can't remember his name. I see his face. I can't remember. I've played it so many times.
Jackie.
I can't remember his name. Jackie's, like, that whole with you guys falling and then him dying and giving you the chip. Holy cow! And then him dying in the freaking limo. Absolutely crazy. Like, the whole story is completely gripping from start to finish. It's so heartfelt. Again, grief, loss, building yourself back up, overcoming obstacles. And the world, like, you could literally just hop out, walk around, and do that for hours.
You could.
Like, one of my favorite things is to watch the billboard ads and just laugh at some of these insane billboard ads that are there.
They're so
And
well
then,
thought out. That
like,
is world building. That's world building. Advertisement billboards in a cyberpunk future is world building.
And there's so many things that you can just get lost in. Like, I remember early on in the game, you come across the character who's based on Cole Carnage, the streamer.
Yep.
He's got the garbage bag on, and he's like preaching about these vampire lizard things.
Yeah.
And come to find out, he's not really wrong. There's kind of something happening there, and then he gets taken away.
Yeah, he disappears.
He just disappears. And there's so many things that you could do, and there's so many ways you can take the game, and so many ways you can build your character from just a gun shooter to not even getting anywhere near your enemies and just blowing them up because you're doing the cyber stuff.
My very first build was a Netrunner, and it was awesome.
And just like The Witcher, and maybe because it's the same studio, all the side quests are incredibly well designed. They're all interconnected.
Mm-hmm.
And tell me the last time when I can't remember his name, when he dies, the guy who gives you the first quest, that's the big black guy.
Oh, I can't think of his name.
I can't remember his
either.
name. But when he blows him away, when you're just laying there in the trash, like, when was the last most satisfying death in a game?
Dexter Deshawn.
Dexter. When you see Dexter Deshawn get blown away, like, how satisfying was that?
That was great.
Absolutely satisfying.
And you can go visit him.
Yes, you can.
You can go visit his body.
You can. And then there's another fridge with another body in there that you get something out of that too.
Yep.
Right behind him.
Yeah, that's a really good cyber deck in that fridge.
Yep.
I mean, the game thought of everything. And let's talk about Johnny Silverhand's story too.
I haven't even touched on that yet.
We haven't even touched on that yet. But
Keanu, talk about people who voice it who are completely in the character.
He was fully bought in as Johnny Silverhand.
It's very hard to tell because anything with Keanu Reeves, it's always the same voice. It's always the same tone. Like, you can't tell if he's excited or not.
I'm looking at you, Shadow the Hedgehog.
But he was Johnny Silverhand. I mean, granted, they modeled him after him, but he was so invested, absolutely invested.
Johnny's story was awesome. And the first time you play that game, you're like, I don't like this guy. I do not want him in my head. I don't want anything to do with him. Go away, leave me alone.
My first playthrough was that. My second playthrough, I went full Johnny.
And
Johnny, take the wheel.
You start to empathize with him and understand what he's going through with Cal and how she disappeared and how she wasn't actually dead. I mean, the story that they develop, not only through you as a merc, right? V's a mercenary, the fall and rise rather of V, and then the Johnny Silverhand story intertwined with all that and everything that's going on, and so good.
Good.
And everything in this game feels like it matters. Every main character matters. Paying attention to details matters.
Remember the side quest with the guy that wants to crucify himself?
Oh my God, that wrecked me.
That's a side quest.
Yeah, and I went through the whole thing because it was the first time I was doing it, and I was like, well, let's see what happens. Oh, we're really doing this. Okay.
First time I let him do it, the second time I did not.
It's like, oh, we're really doing this. I mean, like other things, like early on, you go into clouds and you see how they're abusing their people there.
Yep.
And you're like, well, I don't like this guy anyway, so good. You know?
I went out guns a-blazing.
I mean, and your companions, Judy, Panam, even River, although he annoyed me.
I never went with River just because he annoyed the hell out of me.
River is the most annoying of companions, but like Judy and Panam, excellent backstories.
Oh yeah,
you care about those characters.
I mean, it's easy to care about Panam because how they introduce her, betting over the car.
Well, like that's deliberate though. Like that's deliberate storytelling, and you're going to be like, well, this character is half looks, and that matters. Just is.
Judy is incredibly in depth too. But I don't like the fact that, depending on if you're gay or straight, you can romance certain ones. But I personally and purposely went through in 2 different paths, like I romanced different people, just to see what would happen.
Yep. And their stories at the end are all very different and very interesting.
Oh my god,
as well.
some of those text messages you get.
Yeah.
Like, I did one playthrough where I went with Pan Am and then sacrificed myself or let Johnny, like, take me.
Yeah.
And the heartbreaking text you get from Pan Am, oh my god.
And they thought of all of that.
Yeah.
It's just everything that was considered from the studio that CDPR, when they design games, they think of everything. And it's very similar to Larian and what they did with Baldur's Gate 3. Now, we could have talked about Baldur's Gate 3 here. I think everybody has gushed about that game and the story enough. I think that goes without saying that would be another honorable mention. I don't have to say anything else about it. Enough said.
No.
So we are into trivia time, Jesse. And as I said, I came up with one very last minute, but I am ready with a trivia if you are.
You can go first.
Awesome. In the original Mortal Kombat game, Johnny Cage's signature split punch move was inspired by a fight scene from what famous 1980s action movie? And if you don't know the movie, name the action star.
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yep.
Was it Street Fighter?
No, that was later on in the 90s.
I know it's Jean-Claude Van Damme. I see it. Was it Bloodsport?
There it is. You got it. So, and fun fact, Johnny Cage himself was originally meant to be played by Jean-Claude Van Damme, but the deal fell through, so Midway created a parody version instead, and I couldn't be happier. The version of Johnny Cage that we get now is way better than Jean-Claude Van Damme ever could have been.
Did you see who's going to play Johnny Cage in the next Mortal Kombat movie?
Carl Urban, and I love it. I'm here for it.
So mine is related to something I already talked about. What did Bloody Baron name his botchling?
God, I should know this.
I have 3 to choose from if you want me to give you those, or do you want to try it?
If you gave me 3, I would remember.
Okay. So I won't give you 3 yet.
I want to say it's like Sienna or something, but that's not it. Sienna?
Want the 3 hints?
Yeah.
Uma, Sarah, or Dia?
It was Dia.
It was Dia. Yep.
Yeah. It was Dia. Uma is, well, that's a different character altogether.
Ooh, yeah. Uma! Such a good character.
So good. So now that Jesse and I have finished gushing about games we love, we get to flip the script. And we're going to talk a little bit about game narratives that have fallen flat. And for very different reasons on some of them, or similar reasons for some of mine. And you're going to see a theme really quick as we go through mine, that it's all the same studio. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. So let's talk about this. And I'm going to be honest right now. There is a very toxic portion of the fandom of the first game that I'm going to talk about that will defend this game mercilessly. Regardless of whether it was good or bad, they don't care. Just because of the name in the studio who put the game out. And I don't care. Because I have seniority. I've been playing Final Fantasy since the very first game came out. I am a Final Fantasy elder. So if you're going to defend Final Fantasy Rebirth and the expectation versus reality that this game had, and I knew after playing Remake and the padding that they put into Remake that Rebirth was going to be a very padded game. But holy shit, I did not expect the Ubisoft treatment. All right? I did not expect towers to open up the map. I didn't expect checklists. I didn't expect filler quests, forced mini games everywhere. We are pulling away from the story and diverting you to do a stupid mini game because you have to. That has nothing to do with the story. Never happened in the original. It felt like Assassin's Creed wearing a Moogle costume. If you don't know what a Moogle is, look it up. If you don't know what a Moogle is, you don't like Final Fantasy. Okay?
Nope.
But it didn't...
That's a Moogle.
It didn't feel good. And the tone and the bloat of this game absolutely destroyed me. Now, while it mostly stayed true to like the original tone of Final Fantasy VII, bad corporation taking over, Sephiroth, bad guy. Why is he wreaking havoc and wants to destroy the world and everything? But like everything you did was bloated. So let's think about the first game. Final Fantasy Remake is the events that happen in Midgar as you leave the city of Midgar. In real-time gameplay hours, if I wanted to explore Midgar in the first game, if I really wanted to explore, I could get out of that part in 5 hours at the most. They turned that into a 30-hour standalone game in Remake. Okay. Now we have Rebirth. which are the events that happen after Midgar up until the big scene with Aerith. Everybody knows Aerith dies. Sephiroth gets her. Okay. That's this game. But every single thing you did was bloated. The Chocobo farm had a goofy fetch quest and other stuff that you had to do to get Chocobos. The swamp that you were in made you fight the Midgar Zolom. Even like the town of Calm that you get to, which is just like a checkpoint stopping point on the overworld in the first game, had some friggin' big event. Like, why was Calm a whole thing? Like, there's a military invasion, they're searching for you. Quick, go down this escape hatch, blah, 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 blah. It's like, what is going on? None of this happened in the original game. And the narrative pacing was so weird. It's like the story trickled out in like short cutscenes between massive gameplay detours. Go find this tower, go do this stuff. I lost track of the plot. And worse, I started second guessing my own memory of the original game. I was like, wait a minute, did this happen? Am I missing something? And like the gameplay fatigue that I got from this, the towers and the maps for guidance and everything. Well, if you want to open up the fog on the map so you can see the map that you're on, better find a tower. It was friggin' exhausting. Chadley, please just stop. Go away. Jesse, you can look up who Chadley is also if you want. He didn't exist in this game, and he's been following you around since Remake. And there's mini hunts, forced mini games, checklists. It's like the game didn't trust me to enjoy it. Go here, 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 and here, and then you can complete the area. Okay, like the ADHD, OCD completionist in me wanted to do that, but by the time I did that in like 2 or 3 areas, I stopped doing it because I was spending hours and hours and hours just checking boxes. I was like, I'm not moving anything forward. Why are we doing this? Why are we making the player do this? You know, gamers, we love checklists. Too many checkboxes. Take away from story. Okay. And then like the lore of this story expected you to know like the PSP mobile games, side content stuff and everything that they kind of interlaced in with Rebirth here. Like, characters showed up and I'm like, I should care, but I don't even know who they are. Who are you? Where did you come from? You were not in this first game. And I couldn't care about them because I didn't know anything about them. They're shrouded in this like very light backstory that they give you as you're playing. And you're like, where did this come from? Does this make Shinra look even worse to me? Maybe? Shinra's a big bad corporation, by the way. It felt like you were walking into a party 3 hours late and everyone's already just deep in conversation. And you're like, hey guys, and they're all just ignoring you talking. Like, what was this? Like, if this game launched 20 years ago as a remake, it would have been respectful. It would have been focused on the remake. It would have stuck to the original game lore. And it just would have been a better game, optimized for whatever console they made it on. But instead, now in 2024, when they made this, it was just a bloated nostalgia Frankenstein with pacing issues. It just didn't get me there. So the biggest take, it was, and because they bolted the Final Fantasy VII name to it. I mean, Final Fantasy VII sells. Let's be honest. Magic the Gathering, I'm looking at you. Remakes need to honor the soul of the original game, not drown it out in systems that nobody asked for. Mini games, towers, bloat, you name it. Honoring the soul of the original. Does that sound familiar? So we have Witcher, and then the Netflix show. Did that honor the soul of the originals? Is that why that failed too?
That's why Fallout, the TV show, is so good, because it honored the soul of the original material.
I don't know it, but I really enjoyed that show.
It did.
Really enjoyed that show.
It's enough where I think it did. There's some liberties that are taken, but it honors it enough to... Well,
liberties are one thing. Like, the first season of Witcher on Netflix took some liberties, right? But it honored the story, right, of Last Wish and everything else as it was going.
I think that what makes the Fallout TV show so good is it's not trying to tell an established story. It's a new story, new characters within the Fallout world.
Right. And as long as they honor the world, you're good. But branding something as a remake is not a different story, last I checked. You're remaking the same story, right? I don't know. Maybe I missed on the branding there, but it wasn't for me. Next up, Forspoken. I talked about this earlier.
the hype for this game, man.
So, I mean, you got a lot of my hype. You guys got a lot of my hype in Discord and everything, and other chats, whatever the hell we were using at the time. But as I recall, like, this game was advertised heavily online. And Square Enix spent a lot of money hyping this game. And let's talk a little bit about this as the story was kind of developed as you play the game. So as we kind of think about this, it's a fish out of water setup, right? You've got this strong female lead from New York City, allegedly this strong female, you know, she's got this New York attitude. She gets transported to a magical land. She gets this magical bangle, like a bunch of bracelets, kind of like what's her face, Ms. Marvel in the MCU, right? She gets elemental powers. She can walk on air, essentially, parkour. There's flashy combat. It was screaming epic adventure, and I was ready for it. And as you know, I didn't shut up about it. I was like, I am so psyched for this game. It's my favorite studio. It's going to be so good. The battle system had potential. It had like a rock, paper, scissors, magic affinities thing going. It was going to be really cool. I played the demo. I didn't hate it then. And then you play the game, you get transported into the world, and that friggin' bangle won't shut up. It talks, and it won't shut up. And there is a setting to dial back its dialogue. So it had like levels of dialogue. You could have it talk a lot. You could have a yappy cuff or not one, and it was still annoying. And I had it all the way down. And it was the same jabber constantly. It was like, you know, could you imagine playing a game and every time you pick something up, the only dialogue line is, ooh, piece of candy. Just shit like that. And then Frey, the main character, she wasn't really a compelling lead. Like, she got there and she's like, eh. She was more apathetic than reluctant. She's like, well, I guess this is my life now. They never, ever set the hook with her. They never made her buy into the plight that was going on in the world. She was just this reluctant person that happened to have the power to change things with this bangle and everything. And I mean, 12 hours in, I don't know. The combat was fun. The parkour and the camera shake and everything else even gave me motion sickness on my big screen.
Could you turn the camera shake off?
I don't think so. Maybe now. Like, I don't know if they patched the game.
They might have patched it, yeah.
But like, I don't know, the side quests felt disconnected. Like, why am I finding cats mid-apocalypse here? What is Square Enix's obsession with side quests that don't move the story forward? They're literally random side quests. So, Jesse, we talked about how side quests are important to move the story forward, to develop a character, to introduce new characters, to develop the story. These two games that I'm talking about right now, Final Fantasy Rebirth, Forspoken, the side quests didn't do that. They felt disconnected. They just felt like they were out of convenience, or do this quest to get a new weapon. I don't give a shit about that. Like,
or the studio wants us to have 50 side quests, so you need to make a couple.
I mean, like, were they just hitting a quota?
Maybe. Side quest quota?
So why did this game fall apart for me? Well, for me, it had no emotional spark. There was no why. I did not ever find my why. I was never compelled to keep playing this game. And I powered through 12 hours, and I quit after the first boss, the first major boss, which is named Tanta Sila. It's one of the main witches, if you will, that's a bad guy in the storyline. And like, I was waiting for the game to become what I hyped it up to be. Like, I was excited still, and it just never happened. And then even after that first boss, it's like, oh, okay, well, I guess there's a couple more, and I guess we have to do this if we want to leave this place, you know? And it just never set the hook. It never made me care enough to get into the game. And the takeaway from this is, like, a strong premise without a strong protagonist is just noise. If you have a protagonist that is hard to care about, hard to relate to, and when the player loses their why, the whole game falls apart. I don't care if it's graphically gorgeous. I don't care if the fighting is fun. I don't care if the parkour is unique to this game and they've never explored it before in games ever, and it was groundbreaking. But if I don't care about the game, the story, the protagonist, I'm not continuing the game. Now, I finished Final Fantasy Rebirth, and I will finish the next one, because it's Final Fantasy VII. But this game, I'm not picking this one up again. I can't do it. All right, Square, what else you got for me? Oh, Final Fantasy 16. Let's talk a little bit about Final Fantasy 16. Big sigh. The demo was awesome. Kind of like Forspoken. Square Enix, you're doing a great job with demos. You're getting people to buy your games based on your demos.
That's all they care about. They put more work in the demo.
So in the demo, you get It's the prologue, basically, right? You don't have to play any of the demo again when you start the game. The game starts after the demo. Really cool. But the prologue's like, Clive killed his own brother, and he didn't even realize it because he was a freak at the time. And it's like, holy Game of Thrones Batman. He just killed his own brother, right? It was gritty, it was mature, it was violent. The ad campaign was perfect. Ben Starr promoted the hell out of that game. He was funny, he was charming, he was Clive. And like after Forspoken, because by the way, this released the same year, Jesse, I was like, this is it. It's going to be the summer of Ifrit. Let me down. Clive. Let's talk about Clive, the main character. He was buff. He was brooding. He was kind of drifting through the game. It has strong start. Clive's abs. He was really good looking. Those abs, man, I think I'd lick them or something, and I'm a straight dude.
But you haven't seen K-pop Demon Hunters, but that's a theme in there too.
I'm gonna have to watch that now. My wife and kid have now watched it, so I'll have to watch that tomorrow. But it never felt like Clive himself was driving the story. It felt like the story was driving him, and it was hard to kind of relate to Clive because he didn't really evolve. He just brooded harder, which was a little weird. And the combat, well, they moved into like a Devil May Cry style combat, which the game designers came over from Devil May Cry. I always play games on easy mode. You guys know that about me. Okay, I'm 43 years old. I'm a full-time IT manager. I have a 5-year-old. I don't have time to get good, as the kids say. And the combat was fun. It was flashy. It was interesting. Until you get to a certain point where your powers are so strong, you just rinse and repeat. Every single fight goes the exact same way. Because that's easy mode. That's what you're supposed to do. Kudos to the Titan boss fight, though. Because that was friggin' epic. Like, if you play God of War 3... Have you played God of War 3, Jesse?
No, I haven't.
Okay. So there is a fight where you fight a Titan as Kratos. And one of the things that the creators of God of War did really well was scale things properly. So if you think about the size of Titans in Greek mythology, you're a human being. They could squish you between their thumb and forefinger. And they literally did that in God of War 3. Oh. The scale of that boss fight. You are human-sized person fighting a giant Titan in Kronos. It was done so well. And they kind of did that with the Titan boss fight as well. Because Titan is huge in Final Fantasy lore. He is the Earth. He is Titan. And it was an epic fight. That was fun. So combat was good enough to get me through the game and make me keep playing. I finished Final Fantasy 16. The character Cid deserves so much better. As Jesse knows, and you guys should all know, Cid is my favorite Final Fantasy character. I have referred to myself as my
Regent
handles
Cid?
For a very long time as Regent Cid. That's Final Fantasy IX's Cid. Cid is my favorite character. He's my favorite archetype. And then the voice actor that played Cid, he was like that gravelly voice actor dude. He's been in a couple movies as a minor character, but he was so good, so good. And then gone. They killed Cid off. Spoilers. They killed Cid off. What the hell? You had such an awesome and compelling character in Cid, and you just killed him off.
That's hilarious. The guy who played Cid is the guy who actually played Galactus in Final Fantasy First Steps. Ralph.
You mean
Neeson.
Fantastic Four?
Yeah, sorry, Fantastic Four. Yeah, Fantastic Four First Steps. He played Galactus. His name was Ralph Neeson.
Okay, so you know who I'm talking about at this point.
Yeah, I know exactly what he is.
Such a good voice. And then they killed his character off, and you didn't hear him outside of like minor flashbacks and everything. And then Clive inherited the title of Cid, so people went around calling Clive Cid also. And it just felt so hollow. And I almost just put the game down right there. I was like, what is this? Why did they kill Cid? And then there's pacing issues everywhere. So game designers, take note. If you are going to design a game and a story, please, for the love of all that is holy, change things up a little bit. Do not make each town the exact same structure that you walk up to. Oh, look, I'm going to a new area as Clive. I don't trust you, Clive. You gotta run some errands and do some shit for me before I trust you. Okay, I'll go do all of these side quests, and then maybe I can earn your trust and move the plot forward. I've done these quests. May I move the plot forward for exposition, please? Sure. Here's what you need to move on to the next steps. And literally every town that you went to was the same. And people thought that was good. People liked the side quests. And I was like, Why is this good if I'm being asked to do the exact same thing in every town in just a different flavor? It was terrible. The story was so formulaic as you went through it. It was so boring. And you know what else got this exact same treatment? And we're going to find that I'm really disliking Ubisoft games. Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Assassin's Creed Shadows. They follow the exact same format. It's the exact same script. Get to a new place, earn someone's trust, do a couple things, story moves on. That's not fun. It's just not. I don't need to do side quests, fetch quests, and everything else to advance the story. Let it happen naturally. Let the side quests tell the story. Don't make the side quests fetch quests for a piece of rock that I need for someone or something. You know, I don't know. And the main plot lost some clarity too as we were going on, because it's like Final Fantasy's always been about crystals. And then it's like, wait, crystals bad here? Is this the core of the conflict now? And then this character Ultima appears out of nowhere. And like, this is your big bad. Ultima is the one pulling the strings. And it really was clocking Necron vibes from Final Fantasy IX. I know you don't know who I'm talking about, but Final Fantasy IX had Kuja. You know who Kuja is from Magic the Gathering.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Kuja was the main antagonist throughout the entire effing game. And you beat Kuja and you're like, cool, I beat the final boss. But wait, here's someone that's never mentioned in lore or anything called Necron that is like the embodiment of death and destruction. That's your final boss. What? Where did this come from? Why am I fighting this? And oh, by the way, if you're underleveled, it's going to wreck you. Ultima felt a lot like Necron from Final Fantasy IX to me. They introduced him earlier, thank God. But it had the same vibes. It's like, why is this thing pulling this? Why is this thing? Period. Question mark. So it has so much potential, and then it was drowned in fluff. It was Assassin's Creed Valhalla all over again. So my takeaways from this game is, like, grit, scale, and spectacle mean nothing if the pacing turns your epic into a checklist. Does that sound familiar?
Mm-hmm. Very common theme.
And maybe stop killing the character that anybody actually gave a shit about. Ben Starr was great as Clive, but what was his name again?
Ralph Neeson?
Ralph Neeson was Sid. Ralph Neeson was Sid. Okay? We cared about. Stop doing this to me, Square Enix. We need to lock it up. You lock it up. All right, Jesse, I'm done screaming.
So mine, I have a very similar theme as Bob. As mine, I only have two, and then I have a wrap-up. They're from the same studio.
I've done that too.
First one is a little bit of a weird one, because technically it's an MMO. But first one is Fallout 76. And this is specifically Fallout 76 at launch. So Fallout 76 was absolute dumpster fire when it launched. So it had no NPCs at all. Everything you talked to or went and got quests and stuff from was either a recording on tape or a robot.
Ugh.
So, and the main theme, like the whole first main quest line, I guess you could say, is you're following the steps of an overseer. And you get to a certain point, you listen to another tape. She tells you to go to another certain point, you listen to another tape. Blah, 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 blah. I finished that, and then I just dropped the game. Because it was like, there's so many other bugs, too. Like, the game was an absolute bug fest. It was terrible.
Okay.
But there was no story at all. Because there was no one to tell it. Because there was no NPCs. I picked it back up when NPCs came back. The Wastelanders, I think is what it was, that update. And I put 300 hours into it.
Wow.
Because it's great. It was so much better. Now, since then, I've dropped it because I don't have the time, but it was absolutely horrendous. Like, it felt so empty. It was isolating. It was so empty. Like,
what would possess a studio? What would possess a studio to build a game with no story, no NPCs to tell the story? Like, I'm seeing Breath of the Wild parallels here, Jesse, but not quite, because you talked about immediately how NPCs fill in the gaps in Breath of the Wild. They help tell the story. They help create the breadcrumbs. They tie things together. They tie things in. What about 76 was failing to do that outside? Like, you said you were picking up tapes. Like, is that just not sustainable as a player? You just don't want to listen to this and listen hard and put things together.
Like, I personally, and this may be just a me thing, but if there's like a lure tape or a lure like piece of paper or something, I don't read it. I don't give two shits.
I'm 50-50.
Yeah, like, I don't care. Like, I want a character or someone that I interact with to tell me something. Where in this case, when it first launched, you literally would pick up a tape, pop it in your Pip-Boy, and listen.
Oh, that's awful.
And then, okay, blah, 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 your quest log pops up and says, find the next tape, and you're here. And you have to battle your way through it. And yeah, it's an open world, and there's some other people there that could be with you that are actual players. But the interaction, you have no interaction with them other than emotes and possibly shooting each other if you turn PvP on.
That doesn't sound fun.
It wasn't fun at all. And that combined with just the ungodly amount of bugs that there were, I just turned it completely off.
So going into 76, you're like, I love the Fallout universe. I know the story. I know the general story. This as an MMO is really going to open up things for me. And then you got tapes. Did you feel insulted as someone who bought that game by the studio at that point?
A little bit, because like I played the demo, or not the demo, the open beta, and I thought that was just like the prologue. But then turns out that's the entire game. And there was so many bugs that we as players raised, and none of them were addressed for years.
Wow.
But now the game is amazing. And the community that's around the game is absolutely, it's one of the best communities I've ever been in.
We talked about that the last gaming podcast, didn't we?
It's absolutely phenomenal. So they definitely came back around and kind of like No Man's Sky. It was like a dumpster fire when it launched, but now it's amazing. I got turned off of it for years and years and years. And then I finally, I'm like, oh, I'm going to try it again. Because I hear, it was right before the show launched. Because like, oh, I hear it's good. Yep. And then I got hooked. It got me hooked so quick. Because they had the actual stories in there.
Be honest, it was because the Wise Mothman's in there.
I mean, that and Fashna are my favorite events. So Wise Mothman is, you're in this town, and the Wise Mothman, like there's a Mothman priest, and you inhale this gas, so you basically get high, and the Mothman talks to you, and you see hallucinations. It's amazing. And then the Fashnot one is you're collecting masks. Basically, like you have this whole, it's like a German type event with like cups and shit.
So they built the stories out when they got there, right?
Yep.
But at launch, there was just
not there.
There was no meat to this game at all.
No. But now there is.
Studios, guys,
like they rushed it out because that's just
players
what was
do
the
not
thing
like rushed games.
No, it was rushed. And speaking of rushed, and speaking of bland, and another game from Bethesda, which absolutely to this day guts me, and maybe it's better because it's been a bit, but it's Starfield. So, and you can attest too, I was so hyped for Starfield.
Yes. I know several people were.
Absolutely over the moon hyped for Starfield because I am obsessed with Elder Scrolls. And I'm thinking Elder Scrolls in space. What could go wrong? Oh boy, could something go wrong. Because the main story is a glorified fetch quest.
No, we just talked about this.
And has absolutely no consequence whatsoever and is over before you could even blink. And any of the choices outside of a few different dialogue options, not a single choice you make matters the entire game at all. It is hollow. Every character is completely generic. You see one, you see a different one in the same town or different town, same exact thing. There's absolutely no emotional connection or complexity with anything. I married one of my characters. Didn't matter at all. I could go and do stuff with another character. She never reacts to it hardly.
What?
There is so much side content, but it's all busy work. None of it matters. It's not connected at all. Kind of like what we've been talking about.
Yeah.
And there's actually no real tension or hook to get you in.
The hook, again, very important.
It is a beautiful game. The gunplay in it is absolutely amazing because you have parts where like you're in space, there's no gravity, and you're having like a zero gravity shootout. It's absolutely cool, but there is no story. There is absolutely no story whatsoever. There is a story there, but it's so bland, so generic. It has doesn't matter at all. Like you won't even remember it.
What a letdown.
And apparently Shattered Space, the DLC, which I have not played because I stopped the main quest or stopped the main game, is the same thing. Absolutely does not matter whatsoever.
And yet that same studio laid off 9,100 people across the board, not just that studio, and canceled a game that was well received among devs and internal employees that were never going to see the light of day.
ZeniMax. Yep.
What in the world?
So and then My third one is like wrapping up, but if I had to pick an actual game, it's Donkey Kong Bonanza. And I'm going to get absolutely crucified for saying it.
I'll make sure to put this as one of my reels then.
But Donkey Kong Bonanza is just a reskin of Mario Odyssey, which in itself, Mario Odyssey, in every Mario game ever made, is absolutely the same thing over and over again. Some stupid princess gets kidnapped by some stupid lizard, and you have to go save her.
Lizard.
That's it.
Sorry, I can't help it.
That's it. That's the game for the next 15 years. Let's do the same thing. Throw in some different characters to help you along the way. The same plot is some stupid girl that keeps getting kidnapped instead of actually going to get security.
So who's the little girl riding Donkey Kong in this game?
That's Pauline, who is actually in Mario Odyssey as an adult.
Oh, interesting.
Pauline is a kid in Donkey Kong. And, the whole dynamic between her and Donkey Kong is cool, but the plot of the game is the exact same freaking thing as Odyssey in a way. You have some corporation that wants to steal bananas and is burrowing into the earth and has different layers into the earth. And you have to collect bananas the same way you have to collect stars in Mario Odyssey. And then the same thing as Odyssey, when you finish the game, you have to go back and collect more stars to really be the game. You finish Donkey Kong, you have to go back and collect more bananas to finish the actual game. Anyway, my wrapping up is that it's not one specific game. It's just something that keeps happening, which we've touched on multiple times tonight.
Yeah.
Is you turn on a new RPG, you want to get into the world, and you feel nothing. There's no urgency. There's no momentum. There's no hook. There's nothing that keeps you coming back to play. There's no real reason to be there. The story is bad. It completely loses you. The gameplay could be amazing.
Yeah.
Like I said, Starfield, the gameplay is absolutely phenomenal. The gunplay is amazing, but it doesn't grab you. It doesn't emotionally connect with you. And it doesn't have to be flashy and have all these flashy cutscenes every 5 minutes. You have to have a real purpose to actually be there. It has to be high stakes. It has to be a reason to be there.
Yep.
The characters have to matter. The characters have to grab you. You have to be able to relate to some of these characters.
Yep.
Like, we relate to Joel.
Oh, very much.
And something has to tell you it's worth picking up and taking the journey and being with this character. And so many of these games, not a single bit of it matters. That's why I dropped 76 to start. That's why I dropped Starfield. And that's why I rarely finish games anymore.
They're just not hooking you.
Nope. Maybe I'm too big of a fish. And none of the hooks are big enough.
They're not big enough hooks for Jesse. All right. I get dishonorable mention for this one. So come on in. Come here. Let's talk about Kingdom Hearts 3. We're sticking with the Square Enix stuff. Guys, I hate played this game. I finished it out of spite. Kingdom Hearts 3 is 40 hours of lore choke chaos with no emotional depth. There are no Final Fantasy characters in this game. Just Mickey Mouse in a hoodie. Donald casting Zeta Flare. And this PowerPoint villain explaining how hearts are connected across timelines. Kingdom Hearts isn't a game. Kingdom Hearts 3, rather. It is a midlife crisis with particle effects. Like, lore is not story. Kingdom Hearts 3 is nostalgia with no soul. We've got all these Disney characters and everything. So let's talk. Let's talk about Kingdom Hearts 3. The game that took 15 years to come out, mind you. That game was 15 years in development. And it forgot it had a plot. The villain, he's still rambling about darkness. The mechanics, flashy lights, the story. Dude, the story reads like someone let ChatGPT loose in a hot topic.
I thought it was supposed to be like deep and emotional.
I'm 40 hours in, still unlocking Keyblades. Not once did I feel like I'm playing the game that I was in love with as a young adult. Like, it's not Kingdom Hearts anymore. It's Disney the Asset Parade, the game. You fight in Frozen, Toy Story, Big Hero 6, right? And you get these new worlds and everything, and it's so cool, except none of it matters. There's zero emotional weight. We just talked about that. Just sparkle tornadoes and Goofy yelling while Elsa sings.
I think my kids would like that.
And where are my Final Fantasy characters? We had them in the first two games. There was supposed to be Final Fantasy and Disney. That's what Kingdom Hearts was. Where's Cloud? Where's Tifa? Where's Squall? Don't call me Leon. And like, they straight up got Thanos snapped out of existence so Sora could high five Wreck-It Ralph.
So there's literally no Final Fantasy characters at all.
None.
But they were in the first two.
Yeah, none in Kingdom Hearts 3. They just, not even one. Not a name drop. But we did get Remy the Rat from Ratatouille as a friggin' cooking minigame side quest. So, priorities. Guys.
I think my kids don't like that game.
Square Enix doing? Kingdom Hearts 3 is what happens when you leave your childhood dreams in the hands of a madman with a particle engine and no editor. It's Lord Cho chaos, emotional range of a plastic spoon. And I finished it out of spite. You can ask my wife, okay? Not because I love the characters, but because I wanted to know exactly how far Square had fallen. And honestly, that might have been the beginning of the end for them. I didn't think I could tell you one single plot point from this game at this point. Because I played it start to finish, 40 hours, put it down, and I haven't picked it up since the day I finished it. I just haven't. No. I will ship it to you, Jesse, if you want me to. I think I have a physical copy of it.
That's okay. I'm sure it's probably free on PlayStation Plus.
I will ship it to you with some magic cards or something that I don't know. But, you can't build catharsis on confusion, and you sure as hell can't replace Final Fantasy with Frozen 2 and expect me to cry. What? All right.
Can we zoom out? I'm uncomfortable.
All right. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk on that. All right. We're going to summarize things a little bit here. So I think if you've hung out for almost 2 hours with us so far, this is our longest podcast by a long shot now. But I think we had a lot to say, and I think there's a lot of themes that we need to touch on here. So I'm going to take the first one, Jesse. You take the second. We can alternate here. So the biggest thing that Jesse and I have talked about here is make me feel something or I'm gone. Characters are everything. If you do not connect with someone, hey, we just heard that, didn't we? You have lost me. Aloy, Ellie, the Paintress. They were emotional anchors that I latched onto. Frey, late game Clive, most of Rebirth's cast, they were just mascots. Nobody hit. Empathy, grief, survival, identity. These are the things that matter. These are the works of heart that matter. These are things I connect to.
And your story matters as well, but also how it's delivered. So don't bury exposition and fluff. Just tell me the story. I don't need all this explosions and everything else that comes just tell the story how it is. Like Bob said, Rebirth felt like a bloated remix album. With too many minigames and towers, which ironically, that's how you unlock the map in Zelda is towers. And padding.
That's why I don't like Zelda.
But it's a challenge. You have to, anyway. If I have to play 3 spin-offs to understand the story, that's not good. That's not good. And the best stories give you just enough, like Zelda, like Breath of the Wild, just enough and let you discover the rest.
Right. Here's another fun fact. Combat can be simple, but it had better be satisfying, okay? So think about this. As I've mentioned, I play all my games on easy mode. That doesn't mean I want brainless combat, right? Horizon Zero Dawn gave me freedom and boss fights that felt massive.
Man, those boss fights are so good.
And then we get Final Fantasy 16 that started strong and it turned into autopilot once I got the right build. There was nothing in it. Witcher 3 combat, while it was the same when it's on easy mode, the enemies were different, vastly different, with different strategies. So not every fight was the same like it was for me at the end of Final Fantasy 16. And then Forspoken, it had all the pieces that were making for fun game, and they forgot to set the hook. Good combat doesn't make me want to keep playing a game. I need the story.
You got to respect our time, too. This is kind of what's issue with different topic or different game type, but Marvel Snap. They're not respecting our time.
Mm-hmm.
They're releasing cards now that you could literally grind, or you need to grind for 80, 90 hours to even get near getting the card. It's not respecting your time. I'm 42, Bob's 43. We're both full-time. We both have kids.
Yep.
Bob put on here, don't make me climb towers just to open the map, but I'm doing the exact same thing in Zelda. If the quest is just padding and doesn't mean anything to the story, I'm going to skip it or just stop playing the game completely.
Yeah, it better be skippable then.
Yes. And the games that hit made every hour, the script is a little weird.
The games that hit made every hour count.
There you go. I couldn't read it. It's too late. It's almost 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
They respect your time and respect your life outside. That's what I think why I'm gravitating less and less toward live service games and more towards single player games these days is because I can literally pause it and come back to it, and it doesn't matter.
Something to note for you, I don't remember if I told you this outside of the podcast, but you can finish Clair Obscur in like 25 hours.
Yeah, see, I just need to sit down and do it then and stop playing Marvel Snap or Magic.
They respected your time, very much so. They delivered an amazing story in 25, 30 hours. Now, you can do other stuff after, but you're going to get through the main story, 25, 30 hours.
How much did it cost?
It was $59.99, I believe.
Not $80 or like $100 like Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to be?
Yeah.
Anyway,
respect our money also, by the
respect
way.
our money, yeah.
And, you know, we touched on this with Fallout 76 and other games. Stop releasing games without a clear vision. Now, thankfully for Jesse, Fallout 76 patched out of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Forspoken did not. It felt like 6 teams made the game and never talked to each other, right? There was a team for combat. There was a team for side quests. There was a team for world building and art and everything else. And they never actually talked to each other, and they just jammed it into a game. And then, like, Final Fantasy Rebirth had an identity crisis. Is it remake? Is it reimaging? Is it a multiverse mess? Did I need to play these PSP games to understand what remake was? It didn't work for me. The best games that we've played had confidence in what they were. Horizon knew. Last of Us knew. Clair Obscur, Expedition 33, absolutely knew.
The Witcher 3, absolutely knew.
They knew.
Cyberpunk. My God, the story from the beginning of Cyberpunk was dead on. The rest was not. The story was dead on, though.
Yeah.
Absolutely dead on.
So what's a game story that you wanted to love but couldn't? Let us know. Or one that you swear by, even if everyone else hated it. I'm going to get some Final Fantasy VII Remake and Rebirth purists in the comments. They're going to be like, you're crazy.
Kong Bonanza ones, I'm sure.
Hit us up. Let us know. Let's keep fighting for good games. And let studios know. Listen. This is the most important takeaway that I don't even have in our notes. If we are not critical of studios and games that come out, both critical in a good way and in a feedback kind of way where your game is not working for me, they're going to keep putting out Starfield year in, year out, to use Jesse's generic game.
And they'll take 10 years to make it, and then it'll come out like that.
The next Bethesda title is going to be a Starfield clone if we do not continue to be critical.
If Elder Scrolls 6 is like that, I don't know.
We have to be critical of these games when they're bad, when they miss. That's our job. And we need to sing the praises and reward game studios for games that are absolute masterpieces. That's all I got tonight, Jesse. Any final words of wisdom for us?
I have a couple, and one of them is a plug. So you can find Bob at twitch.tv/gamerdadbob, where you are now, if you're watching. And you can find me at twitch.tv/JesseHokey.
He's back.
I stream Marvel Snap, and I stream Magic the Gathering content. My second one is not entirely related to what we were talking about tonight, but it's kind of some advice or just words to live by. Just because you don't like something, or just because you don't like the genre of a game, doesn't mean others can't like it too.
This is true.
So just because you don't think not safe for work games should be published, or they shouldn't be there, because you have some holy moral high ground you think you're at, doesn't mean other people can't enjoy it. Mm-hmm. And just because I hate the story of Donkey Kong Bonanza doesn't mean you can't like it. It's completely fine if you like it.
We're going to go back to the cliche of I'm not going to yuck your yum, you know?
Yep. It's completely fine. There is a story out there, like I've read that people thought the Cyberpunk story was completely terrible and hollow.
Yep.
I thought it was one of the best stories in the last 20 years. There's a lot of people that absolutely hate The Witcher 3 because they thought the combat was terrible. But the story, everything together, the whole package, story, combat, everything, best game in the last.
It fit into that world. I agree, Jesse. I think it's still important to be critical where to be critical. I know you're saying like I shouldn't be yucking other people's yums and everything, but I'm not just saying Final Fantasy Rebirth sucked. I am listing my reasons. I am citing my sources.
There's a difference.
You can't just hate on something because. Miss me with that bullshit, right? Miss me with that. But if you have reasons, cite your reasons. I'll hear you out. We'll talk about it.
You can discuss it.
Tell me why stuff's good.
Respect your reasons and respect my reasons.
Yeah.
You're not wrong. I'm not wrong. Unless, the game is absolutely broken at launch, then
Well, that's on the
That's
studio.
different. Yeah. That's
Whew.
not discussing a story. That's technical.
Well, this was a long one. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you want us to talk more about game narrative, design, stuff like that, drop us a note in the comments. I can help us come up with whatever we need to on this sort of front. It was really fun coming up with this topic and going over things and talking about hits and misses in game design in kind of the last 10, 12 years. Jesse, I hope you enjoyed talking about this too. I think this was a fun topic.
It is. It's like, because these games mean so much to me. I mean, they're only video games, but The Witcher 3 means so much to me. I could talk about it for hours.
Yeah.
I could talk about it for so long.
Next video game podcast is The Witcher 3, a full breakdown in 16 hours. I don't know.
Say a 5-hour long podcast.
Where
I talk about Bloody Baron and the whole quest line for 3 of those hours.
Yeah. Well, thanks for hanging out with us tonight if you're still here, and be awesome out there. We'll see you next time.